You post a small thought, then the notification dot starts blinking. 10 compliments land, and you barely feel them. 1 criticism lands, and your stomach drops before you finish reading. You reread that one line, like it's a diagnosis. You close the app, then open it again. At lunch, you're still hearing it in your head. It sticks. You tell yourself you shouldn't care this much. You smile at the praise, then go back to the wound. By night, it's the only part you can quote word for word. Here's the paradox. 1 comment controls you more than 10. All day, the smallest voice becomes the loudest voice. You start rehearsing a reply, like you're on trial. The insight is not that you're fragile or dramatic. The insight is that your attention is trained to find threat first. Criticism feels actionable, so your mind grabs it. Praise feels finished, so your mind lets it pass. That creates a private imbalance you call being realistic. You think you're being realistic, but you're letting one stranger set the weather. Your brain marks rejection as urgent, then reallocates attention to neutralize it. Negative social signal is treated like a risk to belonging. Belonging used to be survival, not just a feeling. It flags rejection cues as urgent, then loops them until they feel certain. That attention pulls memory, imagination, and self-image into one loop. You replay the comment to find what you missed, like replaying a near accident. Compliments don't trigger the same loop because they don't demand a fix. Behavioral economics names it. Losses loom larger than gains. 1 negative point feels like a loss to your status. 10 positives feel like background noise you don't need to act on. So your limited attention budget gets spent on the sharpest threat. On platforms, the sharpest criticism gets repeated, so it feels bigger than it is. High salience comments win the auction for your mind. That's the chain. Salience pulls focus, focus shapes story. Story shapes identity. You refresh the thread, then rewrite 1 line, then refresh again. You read 1 harsh reply, and you edit everything to defend against it. You rewrite your next post for an enemy that may not exist. You hold back your real point, because you can predict the reaction. You call it being careful, when it's really being controlled. Over time, that loop turns 1 comment into a constant editing policy. Over 3 to 5 years, you train yourself to speak smaller. The explicit second-order effect is self-censorship that compounds into stagnation. You ship less because your work gets optimized to avoid criticism. Your confidence becomes a performance you maintain, not a baseline you live in. Even relationships shift because you hear judgment before it exists. The cost is quiet. You trade depth for safety again and again. That comment is data, but your mind treats it like a verdict. Signal can be useful, but it doesn't deserve total control. Negativity bias is a weighting rule, not a verdict about you. When you see the rule, the comment stops being the truth. More insights like this every week. Think deeper, work smarter, explaining systems simply.